It's weird because this guy and this man, this is the Strange Boys, they give me confidence that I could maybe sing. And that's not a slight to them.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's within reach is what I'm saying.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
The song is A Man You've Never Known. We're very excited to be back on VPN doing a live streaming Sklarbro Country.
It reminds me of when we do guest host for Jim Rome.
That's right.
It is live.
It's
you don't
happening.
know what's going to happen, except you could drop an F-bomb here where you could not do that there.
What is an F-bomb? What do you mean by an F-bomb?
I'm not going to say
You're not at liberty to say?
I'm not going to do it.
All right, so we're live. We are just coming off a phenomenal weekend in Chicago.
We had deep dish up at Chicago.
We wasn't deep dish. We had stuffed pizza.
Stuffed crust.
Chicago's.
It was so good.
Chicago stuffed pizza. You know,
Van Kirk was up there. We did the live podcast on Thursday night. Tim Kazurinsky, Steve Dahl. If you don't know who Steve Dahl is, you know, most people in Chicago know exactly who he is. He was a legend on the radio for
people
that time.
Outside of Chicago will remember him as the DJ who killed disco.
Remember the Disco Sucks and he blew up all those disco records?
And it turned into a riot?
Park. It turned into a riot.
It was the only time, one of two times in the history of baseball where not because of a weather situation.
They had to cancel a game. It was in the middle of a doubleheader and they canceled the second game. The other one was 5-cent beer night in Cleveland.
How could that go wrong?
Great idea.
Cleveland.
5-cent beer night in Cleveland.
It should be noted that Randy and I both didn't shower, so we're wearing our similar not showering caps, and we're not happy about it.
Both of us will be delivering papers in the 1920s after this.
Extra, read all about it.
It's a story.
You don't know what I'm talking about. So Chicago was amazing, and that live show, will be available for purchase tomorrow, or as in today. When it launches
today.
Tomorrow.
When this launches, yeah, exactly. On Friday.
So on Friday. So please, this is a way.
Looking for a way to support the show. Tim Kazurinsky was amazing. Van Kirk was there. I'm saying Wahlberg showed up. Doug Buffone showed up.
Steven
Seagal at the very beginning. It was such a fun show. Our buddy Pat Bertoletti, even though you can't see it.
He downed while Casey Urlacher, who's Brian Urlacher's brother, talked about his plan for his civic plan for the county that he's a mayor for, the township Mettawa. He downed an entire deep dish pizza.
That's like
that weighed like 8 pounds.
6 to 8 pounds of pizza he ate in 3 minutes.
He ate the equivalent of a cheese baby.
He ate a baby and then shit out a Packers fan.
Hey, I shit out a Packers
fan on Wicker Drive. It was so fun. So then highlight. That was a huge
so get that show, please. It'll be available in the store. And look, it's a very simple way. Maybe we'll throw together a deal with some old shows if you sign up your on our newsletter. If you sign up your email on our website, supersklars.com, we'll work up some deal where you can get a package of a few of those live shows
at a discount. So check that out. That was super fun. Then on Saturday night, after we finished our last show, the gang from the main stage at Second City. I mean, one of the most historic sites and stages to basically launch all the great comedy people you've ever known.
Same stage for 50-plus years.
All right. They asked us to come down after our last show and do monologues with them and then improvise with them, which was like, it was Make-A-Wish stuff. It was so much fun.
It was so. I'm still high from that. I'm still riding high from that experience. I'm proud that we jumped in and mixed it up.
I'm going to put it up there with this experience. It's just, it was so much fun. When I go to Long Island with my family in the summertime, they belong to a beach club where there is a pool and there's a diving board and there is a swimming instructor there who swam for Williams College. Mm-hmm. Big dude, swimmer, right?
Right.
I got on the diving board and did a backflip off the diving board. All right, I've taught myself how to do a backflip.
You have?
He asked me if I dove in college.
There it was.
I
Did you dive in college?
Are you asking me right now if I dove in college?
I don't know. I'm learning things about you that I didn't know. I didn't know you could do a backflip.
I did not dive in college, but just the fact that he thought that I dove in college, that's all I needed to hear.
That's what this was like.
It felt like diving in college.
To get laughs on that stage.
Just improvising with these people who are literally master improvisers. One of the guys gave his SNL audition that he's going to do this week.
And he was amazing.
He was incredible. So it was a blast. So much fun. I would highly recommend anybody pick up the live show there.
Up Theater is amazing. If you Up Comedy Club.
So now our sights are clearly set on Denver, guys. We've been to Denver a few times. We're coming back to the Comedy Works, one of our favorite places where we recorded our third album, Hendersons and Daughters. We're going back to the Comedy Works end of this month, 26th,
downtown, Larimer Square.
7th, 8th, and 9th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll be at the Grolic show as well. Van Kirk's going to be in town. It is going to be a super fun series of shows. Come hang out with us. We are really excited to be there, so please come out and check those shows out and go to Comedy Works and check that out. Or go to our website, supersklars.com. And again, then we'll be in San Diego in the middle of July. Then end of July, we're in Seattle. Then Phoenix in August. Then September, we're in Philadelphia. And then we're going to be doing our special in Madison at the Majestic Theater on October 11th. Then we're coming to St. Louis. We are actually coming back to St. Louis to perform at the Cherokee. Very excited to go to the Cherokee. Which
and
is
Lexington,
a cool
Kentucky.
Lexington, Kentucky. All right, so good stuff.
All right, we've got takes. I mean, that's what we do on the show.
And we have a great guest on the show. One of our favorite, speaking of improv, one of our favorite improvisers out there. He is a fantastic improviser.
An old friend.
Part of one of the greatest sketch groups and one of the early sketch groups to come out of UCB. And
part of one of the funniest marriages of all time. And I'm not making fun of his marriage. I'm just saying that he's paired up with another funny person.
It's a funny marriage.
And together, as far as marriages go,
they're up there. They have to be up there.
They're up there in the power brokers of comedy marriages. This is John Ross Bowie. The way we pronounce, I think we referred to David Bowie as David Ross Bowie.
David Ross Bowie
the other day. JRB, John Ross Bowie. You may know him from The Big Bang Theory or a million other TV shows that he's been on. He will be our guest. And then later on the show, very excited, first time,
and we're premiering it here. Michael Douglas came out with a fantastic movie. The guy is just incredible.
He's in the news now claiming he has HPV from eating a lot of, going downstairs on a lot of ladies. So now he's here to address that. He's here to address who he is as a person. I guess there's doubts as to who he is as a person.
Is Zeta Jones behind him? We'll get into it.
I don't know.
Michael Douglas will be on the show. I'm very excited. But first, we've got takes.
Yes, we do.
And I'm just going to read the headline here, and you guys can decide if it either happened in Europe or Florida.
Europe or Florida is a fun game to play when we have this show.
Here's the headline. Major sports team owner...
I would say Russia or Florida.
Russia or Florida. Okay, so St. Petersburg or St. Petersburg. That'd be a great game to play.
St.
Petersburg or St. Petersburg.
Done.
Major sports team owner breaks into psychic's home to get back $212,000 spent on love spell.
That I could be either place.
Well, if you guess Magellan, Spain, and the owner of Club Deportivo Castellón, you were right.
Oh, yeah.
You were right.
I mean, because if this were Florida, the guy would have broken in and taken a crap in the crystal ball.
If you would have found a way
somehow
to
get a crap in the crystal ball.
It's the same way you get a ship into a bottle.
Yeah.
You get a shit into the crystal ball. You just take the bottom out. All right.
Right.
So there's so much wrong with this story that it's almost like found itself a way around the crazy cul-de-sac that if you keep reading it,
it starts to make sense.
It starts to make logical sense. All right. Jose La Parra, the owner of Club Deportivo Castellón.
We don't have to tell you people that.
In Magellan, Spain, was arrested by Spanish police for the breaking and entering of a psychic's home.
Well, I don't know why.
Did he think that the money was...
Like who keeps...
Where did he think that his...
Who keeps $212,000 just laying around the house?
Under the crystal ball. That's the first place I'd check.
So I think
stack of cash. It's like Red Man's house.
Like if Red Man was a tarot card reader, then this is a good call.
His deck of cards.
For anyone else, I think this is a bad call.
By the way, you don't think that check was deposited or that cash was spent?
Yeah.
Is that if you're...
That might have been the craziest move of this guy in the whole thing.
Is that he
is
actually
to assume that this money was not already deposited.
Which, by the way,
spent.
If you're a soccer player on this guy's team, you got to admire his guts.
Yeah.
I mean, now if you try to basically do like a 1-on-5 break, we're just taking it out there.
Then you
can be like, I'm like the guy who owns the team.
Don't give me shit. I'm like the owner. I'm doing what the owner.
Not be worse than what you just tried to pull off. Now, $212,000, Jay, for a love spell.
That I'm gonna say this, Randy. That better have been a potion. All right,
I agree.
Because with a potion, at least you got something in your hand. With a spell, that's like when when people say, "Oh, I'm going to give you a star."
Yeah, I got.
Look, I named a star for you.
That's
up
yours.
in the sky.
You need a receipt. You got to get a receipt.
Get a receipt on that star. There's no way to verify that. And by the way, on this, if it's just a spell, and you get the receipt,
if you want to return it,
even if you want to return it, I mean, they're not going to give you your money back. It's store credit.
Store credit.
What is that? Like 12 million rabbit's feet?
And by the way, there is a spell restocking fee.
I
know it doesn't go on a shelf anywhere.
Is there a spell punch card? That's my question. Like 9 spells.
9
the
spells.
10th
the
one
10th
is
one
free.
Yeah, it's like
there should be.
It's like Pinkberry. All right, back to the story. Lapara comes to the psychic's house to demand a refund.
Refund.
How I wish Paul Dooley would have been there. Just open the door and be like, refund. So Lapara came back.
OJ style. With some
with
dudes.
a gang of thugs.
Right.
I'm assuming he's got flunkies and thugs all around. Back to get his 200 large from this total nut job. Now I love that nobody in his crew asked him why he spent over $200,000.
No, they're just there. And now they're there. Like, that's how rich this guy is. Like, you can tell how rich someone is by how little people can say no to him.
They have no choice but to agree.
They're just like, all right, he's paying for this crazy stuff. Yeah,
I like riding in his car.
He's having sex with the tiger. What are we going to do? We're going to let it happen? We just got to let it happen.
He's riding his Maserati, so I just go to that. Now, if he's that rich and powerful, here's my thing. Why should he care if he lost that money? That should be a drop in the well, right? $212,000 for a rich and powerful guy? Drop in the well.
I'm going to say this. If he's that rich, the money is itself a love spell.
Yeah, that's right.
Money is what makes people who don't love people love people.
That's right.
That's a love spell.
Tell her how much money you have, and then watch her stop caring what you look like.
That's it.
Watch that
care drip away. Watch her start to think about how she's spending your money, and then you are suddenly the most handsome man in the world.
I say put less time into gathering a lynch mob and more time into getting a good tax guy who can write the love spell off.
Write it off.
You need expenses.
Charity.
You need expenses.
Do it through your foundation.
Or get one guy in your trusted group of advisors who has the balls.
The cojones. Let me do Spanish because
cojones to tell you that your love spell doesn't work.
Yeah.
No matter how much money you throw at it.
Love spells don't work. No matter what, it's a problem that you can't throw money at. A team like the Dodgers knows what that feels like.
They're coming around.
There's a problem you can't throw money at.
They got the Cuban missiles. So.
All right, fine.
The best part about this whole story is that the psychic predicted that he'd be back.
Of course.
So she called the cops just as he was about to knock on the door. Now that's using your powers wisely.
Or it just could have been that the psychic was like, yeah, I kind of overcharged this
charged
guy.
him for a simple palm reading, like 200.
Yet I predicted it. He'd be back when I charged him $200K for a love spell.
By the way, she called when he knocked on the door. So some would call
That's
it
not really predicting.
I say that just like a good front
sightline,
good front window with good sightlines.
Yeah, good line of vision.
Hey, look who's coming up to the door. Maybe I should call the cop. Maybe I should call 911.
I love that you're assuming the psychic has a driveway.
Exactly.
I would say that's probably like close to
now,
the curb.
Now, if the cops were there when he opened the door, that's great.
There, now you're ahead of the game.
Now, during the arrest, Laparo, who has a weak heart, apparently that maybe the love spell was there to make it better.
I know, maybe
suffered an anxiety attack. Really, if you have a weak heart,
this is just a note to anyone out there who's watching on VPN.
Do you really want to start launching a commando mission to get money that you stupidly spent? Like, that's not something a person with a weak heart should be doing.
No. And if you're that rich, send someone else. Send the thug. Send in the thugs.
He was taken to the hospital where he was released the next day on bail. I mean, how sweet would it have been if the bail would have been set at $212,000? That would have been a judge with a great
rub
sense
his nose in it. Rub his nose in it.
So he was released, and he's also awaiting trial for an alleged business. He's also awaiting trial for alleged business and political corruption scandal.
All right, now
I'm starting to
put this on the psychic.
You should know.
If you're a good psychic, you know who you're getting in bed with.
That's right.
Look at this guy. He's already on charges.
Why would you try and sell a love spell to a guy who's awaiting political corruption charges?
There's a bad psychic. So this is
or a lazy psychic. Like,
there's nothing worse than a lazy
that's
psychic.
Right. You know,
it's
maybe
so
the psychic saw the signs.
It's like,
it's a
lot.
What?
There's so many signs.
I don't have to look at every sign.
I'm so tired.
I get so many signs all the time. I don't have to look at every sign.
Well, I'll look at every third sign.
I'll look at the ones that count.
Yep.
Sometimes I like to turn the power off.
For a couple days. If I can turn the voices in my head off.
You know how someone's like out of pocket? This is just them. Look, I'm out of pocket for the weekend.
I turn off my BlackBerry. I'm not psychicking this weekend. I'm just out of pocket. I'm just doing my own thing. On the weekend when she should have got the sign, boom.
Booze away. And that's what I was just doing an all non-technology weekend.
Yeah.
Now, we have a series of characters that surface and resurface on our show.
Yes, we do.
That just for whatever reason, maybe they want us to have material. They just generate.
I feel like they support the show, knowingly or unknowingly. They do support the show.
So Steven Seagal is in the news again, and anytime he's in the news, we have to triple check to make sure it's legit. And then when it is, it's like a gift. You literally, we unwrap it.
No, it's like Christmas Day.
It's like the third day of Hanukkah. You know what I mean?
When the gifts are still pretty good.
Kind of good.
Pretty good gifts.
You know you got gloves coming.
All right, so U.S. government the U.S. government is now asking Steven Seagal for intel on Russia.
This is not a joke.
No joke.
Steven Seagal attended a press conference from the U.S. Embassy in Russia, where U.S. Congressman Dana Rohrabacher had set the whole thing up. He's a California congressman. Now, Seagal last week paid a visit to Roman Kadyrov, a strongman who rules Chechnya.
Wait a minute.
What the
fuck is he doing talking to a strong man from Chechnya?
I thought when Rodman went to North Korea and then they trained their missiles on us, we'd be like, all right, let's stop sending action stars and weird, crazy American iconic.
Like B-list celebrities. Stop sending them to any country that
stop
could
them to do
turn
anything
on us.
political.
Yes.
But it seems that no one sent Seagal that memo.
Or they send it to him and he can't read it. Maybe he can't read. Maybe he cannot read. I don't know.
Not his perfected.
So Seagal has been sent to pay a visit, quote unquote, to tribal leaders in Chechnya. Like, what the fuck?
Did they send him there because they're like, look, if we lose him, that's just collateral damage.
Yeah, it's fine.
We can lose him.
They were probably hoping to maybe get rid of him.
That might have been the thing.
Maybe it was an episode of Lawman. I don't know.
Why not send Dolph Lundgren in? That's his territory. Am I right?
Well, he's German.
He's expendable, though. He is expendable.
He did play a Russian, but he's German, I think.
Someone thought, we're not getting anywhere with these crazy Chechnyans. Let's send someone in who's above the law.
Someone who's hard to kill, you mean?
Let's send someone in who's marked for death.
Someone who's half past dead?
Someone who's on deadly ground.
Literally someone who is under siege at all times, Randy?
Send in Seagal, a.k.a. the Ponytail.
That's got to be his code name, Ponytail.
Yeah, it's got to be
the Ponytail.
Or the Fat Front Kicker.
Fat Front Kicker, or the ground round of the roundhouse.
That would be great. If I would call him that, the ground round. How about the point of kimono return?
Oh, you did not.
The action movie star escorted the congressman on a trip Saturday to the site of a terrorist attack in the Caucasus town of Beslan, where militants seized a school in 2004 and took more than 1,000 people hostage, most of them.
Yeah, I remember that. That was horrible.
More than 330 hostages died.
But this does feel like the plot of a Seagal movie. Like, this whole story is terrible.
He's coming back to finish something that happened in 2000.
Retribution. He's coming back for retribution.
Here's the good news. This should not go to Seagal's head at all.
Yeah.
That the American government is now calling it. This should not validate all the things that he's been saying to himself for years.
Steve Seagal is nothing if not humble.
Yeah. If Steve Seagal was at a homeowners association barbecue back in Arizona where he owns that property.
Yes.
And he came up to you. You were a fellow. You lived in the neighborhood. And he said he was working with both the Russian government and the U.S. government to try and subdue a Chechnyan strongman. You'd be like, oh, shit, he's drunk his own Kool-Aid.
Which, by the way, drunk his own Kool-Aid, I can't use that phrase anymore.
Or he's drunk.
He's just drunk.
Why?
I can't.
You saw the.
I saw the Jim Jones documentary, and I'm like, we've really we've adopted. Oh man,
he's really I'm really drinking the Kool-Aid on this whole office no casual Friday.
Yeah, boy, Pam's really drinking the Kool-Aid on. No, drinking the Kool-Aid.
Pam's really drinking the Kool-Aid on no carpooling.
Yeah, it's like no.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Drinking the Kool-Aid. 900 people died. We can't use drinking the Kool-Aid for anything anymore.
They're really drinking the Kool-Aid on this coach's 3-4 defense.
Yeah. Yeah, he drank the Kool-Aid. He's on board with it. Drink the Kool-Aid suddenly at some point crossed over to totally on board with something.
Yep.
That can't happen anymore.
Oh, shit. I'd say he's totally drunk.
Yeah.
All right. To find out what's really happening, once I found out all this that was going on, it actually made me question everything that's truthful in this world.
Yeah, it does kind of make you go wait a minute, if this is for real happening, our entire universe has been flipped upside down.
I'm trying to think of a theory. Do you think someone in the congressman's office in Rohrabacher in his office was a huge Seagal fan and was like, listen.
Our friend Mark Bernstein worked for Clinton.
Yeah.
Flew on the advance team for Clinton.
Flew on Air Force One and said that Clinton's favorite movie was The Mummy. It's like, I love The Mummy.
I love The Mummy.
I love that mummy.
I love it.
I don't know if he loved The Mummy.
I love
I don't know who played. I didn't see
Brendan Fraser. So
was he the actual mummy?
No, he wasn't the mummy.
I
love The Mummy.
I love that mummy.
Love that mummy.
So he loved The Mummy.
He loved The Mummy so much that he made heads
they
of
landed in some foreign land. I don't want to say Damascus. I mean, maybe that's the reason what's going on now. He landed in a foreign land
and made the other head of state wait
while he watched the end of The Mummy, which he'd already seen on Air Force One.
I love The Mummy.
I love The Mummy.
I love it.
So maybe someone in the office is a huge Seagal fan.
I guess so. I don't know.
And that's what it is. Now, Steven Seagal has claimed in the past to have worked with the CIA in Tibet. I just have to read you, Jay, his own quote about that experience. He said, Steven Seagal said, I was in a monastery in Kyoto.
Now, isn't that in Japan? Kyoto?
Yeah. Okay. And met some monks from Tibet who had been tortured by the Chinese. As I was maybe he didn't work in Tibet, but with Tibetan
monks, okay.
As I was the only one who had studied herbology, bone manipulation, and acupuncture.
What the hell is he talking about?
I treated them, and there was an immediate connection. Bone manipulations to me sounds like he gave him hand jobs. He goes on. One day you're a simple bone manipulator. The next you're teaching.
Well, by the way, bone manipulator should be the name of like any number of
porn
movies that are coming out.
Gay male porn or regular porn.
Bone manipulator.
Jenna Jameson is the bone manipulator.
In a world.
Is the bone manipulator. Next, he said, one day you're a simple bone manipulator. Which, by the way, there's nothing simple about that.
And by the way, one day you're a simple bone manipulator. Nobody is a simple.
You don't just go from being a civilian into that.
But that's the construction of one day you're this and then you become this. You have to start with something that everyone is. Like one day
you're a housewife.
One day you're a college student. Like enough people are college students. You can't say one day you're a simple bone manipulator.
By the way, he says one day you're a simple bone manipulator. The next you're teaching torture victims how to get centered. I actually think bone manipulator is probably
you should be like one day you're teaching
victims how to get
torture victims how to get centered.
The next day you're a bone manipulator. Like that is the bump.
How did you make that jump?
He bumped it down. I don't know. Somehow it's a familiar trajectory. Is it? You almost can't swing a reincarnated cat without hitting someone who's followed this path.
Is it? Was that part of his quote?
I think he's joking.
He is joking.
The audience seemed unbothered by the unverifiability of Seagal's explanation.
This is someone describing
hearing him say that. Most nod with appreciative understanding, some closing their eyes, smiling, savoring the moment like divine chocolate.
Like divine chocolate. So the person who saw Seagal make this quote to people.
Like sexual chocolate.
I don't know. I kind of
love
love him.
There is no way you wouldn't Carol Burnett show all over his face if you were drinking wine.
Just crack up. Just laugh in his eyes.
If he told you that. Excuse me, if he had
whispered because he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk. He just whispers.
Especially since neither the CIA nor Tibet would recognize that this happened.
That's the way he wants it.
That's the way He's like, don't recognize it, okay? Don't. I want
deny it. He's like, please deny it.
Please.
Makes my story even better.
Of course they won't recognize it.
No, whisper it.
Of course they won't recognize it publicly. They can't. This is classified stuff that if I tell you or they tell you, they'd have to kill you.
So he's not only is he whispering, but he's also out of breath.
He
is fat.
Suffering a kidney stone.
He is fat.
In that scenario, he had just walked up a flight of like 7 stairs.
But now with this new development, I'm like, maybe that's true.
Listen, you can't give a guy like Steve Seagal this much personal ammo to work with in his regular dealings at like the dry cleaners, because you know that now he's going to put those giant boulders at his Arizona house wherever the F he wants in his driveway. You know, good luck trying to tell him where to put those rocks to go. He may even have more boulders shipped from Chechnya.
He will.
He's got connection to the government and the backing to do so.
But from the U.S. government and the Russian government.
So Seagal basically was the U.S. man on the inside in Russia to try and help a delegation of U.S. government officials find out more about the Boston Marathon bombing planning. So Great cause. I actually think it's a great cause, and good that Seagal is putting his skills to good use rather than beating up people with pool cues in Alaska over no reason whatsoever.
I'm going to say this right now. It feels like this is like they're desperate. We ran out of options of trying to find out, and so they're just like, all right,
this is a 4th and 18.
How are we going to get into these Chechnya? Who's dumb enough to go over that? I mean, honestly,
we
have
go the Seagal route. Should we do the
the Seagal option? I think that's what it's called. Like it's like the nuclear option.
He knows the guy there.
He knows the guy. All right, I guess. I mean, I guess that's all we can do at this point. They're stuck.
I know that the CIA abroad has to get in bed with some pretty shifty characters, but I would say that this is probably the shiftiest.
The kimono. Getting in bed with the kimono
is a last-ditch effort of a ship that's completely
It's going down. It's totally going down.
Of course, the fact-finding trip that he went on with Congressman did not yield any new information.
So great use of taxpayers' money, Steve.
Ultimately, the congressman couldn't even go to Chechnya because they're not allowed to fly on private planes.
Oh, that's great.
Seagal has become friends with the Chechnyan strongman, appearing in basically a bunch of photos in the strongman's Instagram page.
Well, how do Chechnyan strongmen have Instagram? And if you run Instagram, are you psyched about that, or are you like freaked out?
I love that they have Instagram pages. I can just see this guy having to give the word to abduct a family or light their house on fire, and he's on his computer. He's like, just a second, guys. I got to put a caption on this picture of me and Steven toasting a dinner last night. What do you think? Hard to spill? Does that sound good for that?
Yeah.
Seagal is, of course, defending this guy, saying there have been a lot of accusations that, but has he been charged with anything?
This is the Kim Jong-il moment all over again with a new guy. It's like we send someone over there to find shit out, and they become friends with people.
And by the way,
they ruin it.
That's what I would go by, whether Russia has charged him with anything or not.
Yeah. They're really. That's a good barometer. They're really keen on human rights violations over in Russia.
The next
these days.
quote from Seagal was the best. He said, "I'm friends with many presidents of many countries." And there's rumors
I don't believe.
there's rumors about it. Yes, there is rumors about all of them.
Yes.
And that's where the story turns even weirder.
Yeah.
An article just came out detailing how Russia now wants Seagal to be the face of its arms industry, to have the actor help Russia compete in the arms industry worldwide. And he's into it, Jay.
He's going to do it.
It doesn't matter that he just led a U.S. convoy to Russia to help find out what certain regions are breeding terrorists.
Look, this guy would do a local car dealership commercial if they asked him
in
to.
Pennsylvania, Busey style?
Yeah, Busey style. At this point, he would do a Kia
just to be
commercial.
the face of Russian guns?
Yes.
Deputy Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin.
Why is that easier than the American's congressman's name to say?
It was a lot easier. Accompanied Seagal to an arms plant where he had this to say: "You're ready to fight American manufacturers with your teeth and your intellect."
Your teeth?
That had to be a loss in translation.
That's a loss in
that
translation.
That is definitely right. Maybe not. Maybe they do fight with their teeth.
Maybe they fight with their teeth. It's Russia.
Look,
I don't know.
Someone in Siberia is probably married to a bear, so legally. So if Russia says they fight with
their teeth, maybe they fight with their teeth.
He went on to say, and if Americans are willing to support you, that says we, the Russians, are learning new ways to work on corporate warfare markets.
I don't know what that means.
I don't think that there are a ton of people that would say Steven Seagal represents the views of Americans.
No, I don't.
He doesn't represent Americans.
I can automatically say he's never represented me ever in my life.
My guess is that Seagal is trying to play both sides here so he can get the United States and Russia into another Cold War.
So his movies can be relevant again.
He wants another one, a movie about a Cold War called My Cold Dead Hands of Fury.
Or Coldest Trick in the Book.
I like Coldest Trick in the Book. Or Mutually Assured Destruction, where Steven Seagal basically tries to invade Russia in a truck.
Yes.
Up in the Bering Straits.
All right, I'm down with that.
You like that?
I love it. I love every minute of it.
Is it Bowie time?
It's about to be Bowie time.
JRB time.
You are watching Sklarbro Country on VPN, or you're listening to Sklarbro Country wherever you are. This is Surfer Blood. I love these guys.
Love them.
The song is Demon Dance. We are the Sklar Brothers. Right after this break, John Ross Bowie. Stay with us. All right, we are back, Sklarbro Country. For those of you on VPN who didn't see us before, YouTube.
You missed like the best first segment ever.
I punched Randy in the face. We were going nuts in here. It was pretty crazy.
We were tossing some wolves around.
We tossed 3 wolves, but we've got it straightened out now, and now the feed is up, and that's perfect timing because our guest is here, John Ross Bowie, the David Ross Bowie. David Bowie. I told you that. Did I not tell you that we called David Bowie David Ross?
David Ross.
I should hope so.
I mean,
I should really hope so.
He really carved his career in your image.
Clearly.
When you think about it.
Several years earlier.
Well, you guys both started out at UCB, you and David Bowie.
Same Herald team.
Yeah, it was so weird. And he was.
And for those people who don't know, Herald is basically where you create a concept album.
Yes.
Right.
And then
an
cross-dress.
iconic figure to go with that album.
And you
then
cross-dress.
become scared of yourself and do so much cocaine that you can't remember recording your next album.
That's right.
That's a true David Bowie fact.
And that's what a Herald is, guys.
David Bowie, I think I want to say Low is the record he does not remember recording because he was in such a snowstorm.
That's a whiteout, as it were.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
And you know what? Was it a good album?
It's a pretty good album.
So,
I gotta say.
Look, it doesn't matter how you take that baby to the finish line.
You just go. No, I mean,
you don't think the doping scandal is a big deal at all, do you?
No,
You're fine with it.
No, this is more akin to the pitcher who threw Doc Ellis, who threw
a no-hitter on LSD.
On acid.
That's amazing.
And he thought dragons were chasing him. It's kind of amazing. There's a really cool animated they animated his retelling of the story.
For whom did he play?
He played for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes.
Really?
It was
incredible.
That would have
amazing.
been...
He didn't know he was pitching that day, and he dropped a tab of acid.
That's it. And then they're like, you're up.
He wasn't starting.
No,
he was just thrown in there from.
No, he started. He started the whole game.
Started the whole game.
Pitched a whole game like tripping balls.
That's heroic.
Amazing.
It is heroic.
That is
really
heroic.
heroic.
Good for him.
So you come from the world of improv.
I do.
Which is great, and sketch. Although you've done a ton of like just sitcom comedy and television comedy as well. I saw you on something on TV Land, like a while back. What was that? It was like
that was Retired at 35.
Retired at 35.
I did 8 episodes of Retired at 35.
You were the boyfriend or the husband?
I was the boyfriend of Marissa Jarrett Winokur.
And I just loved how much stuff they gave. Like, you were always going on a business trip or something. Like, they loved how much stuff they gave you in your carry-on.
They gave me a lot of physical business. Yeah. They really did. They thought
which that would be a great name for a show, Physical Business.
I think so, too. That's my concept record.
Physical Business.
I remember I had a whole bit, like, they decided, like, they gave me a Bluetooth thing, and just as a goof during rehearsal, I wore it during a dinner scene, and they thought, that's amazing, you're going to wear that Bluetooth all the time now.
The whole
and
time.
So that was it.
Show.
And I thought actually it was a fun character choice.
It was a great character choice. Did you enjoy doing that show?
I did, because it was, they do this thing where they pay you.
Oh, work. So you're saying it's work.
Yeah,
that's so
I
cool.
provided goods and/or services. They
compensated you for it.
That was fun.
Enough. Never.
In all seriousness, George Siegel was the dad on that show.
Right.
Yes.
And George Siegel is a jukebox of awesome stories. You basically sit down next to him and be like, "Hey, I'm kind of bored. What was Richard Burton like?" And boom,
he's got a story.
He's got an anecdote.
And was he generous with giving that up to you guys?
Incredibly.
That's amazing. He was a good guy.
Wants to hold court. And
any story that you remember?
Eager.
Do you remember anything that was like?
I can curse here, right?
Yeah, of course.
You just got through that pornographic Steven Seagal thing. What am I saying? Yes. I sit down and said, "What was you did?" I got a little James Lipton-y with him, and then 1968 you did What's Up, Pussycat?
To
What's
applause.
Up, Pussycat? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Two thunderous applause
from your acting students.
No, it's Owl and the Pussycat. You did Owl and the Pussycat with Barbara Streisand. What was that like? And he goes, "Well, on the first day of shooting, she had her Barbara Streisand manicure, and this is before she was famous for having the Barbara Streisand manicure." And I was like, you're actually supposed to be playing kind of a cheap call girl. Do you want to have this incredible manicure?
She had been
already set. Her nails are gorgeous,
but
stunning.
where? And forgive me for not being a gay man, but where was she in her trajectory?
I just, by the way, saw The Way We Were the other night.
Interesting movie.
Very interesting. Like, what I didn't realize.
Strangely political, that movie,
so
right?
Political.
Right, yeah.
So much so that, like, you almost forgot that Robert Redford, I'm, like, expecting to see Funny Girl.
Yeah.
Or something where it's all about their relationship and their crazy banter. Look at this stuff, and it's like, whoa, this is all about like the writer's strike.
Yeah,
and, I mean the not the writer's strike, the communist, the McCarthyism, the blacklisting of everybody, and that's all that it was.
It's about college activism and all sorts of crazy shit.
Everyone in the movie, I couldn't even tell you what they were doing in the movie. I guess they were in the.
That
business.
would be like if the movie The Toy was all about the reporters protesting.
Yes,
it would be. It would be
just
what I mean?
like that. We're gonna make the whole movie about that.
Or if The Toy had actually been about the crack addiction. Yeah.
So, it would have been so good if he lit his head on fire at the beginning of every
amazing.
scene. Okay, so she's got the manicure.
Got
day
the
one.
manicure. Siegel's like, you're technically supposed to be kind of a cheap. Do you want to? Do you think? It didn't even say like you shouldn't. He was just like, do you think your nails should look that nice? And she goes, why don't you mind your own fucking business? And storms out. First day of shooting.
Wow.
And it's a romantic comedy, and they're gonna hang out. And he was like, I was terrified of her the whole time.
So
2 months of just sheer terror of Barbara Streisand.
Sheer terror of Streisand.
Wow.
We met Lainey Kazan once, who was Streisand's
understudy,
and like
for a Funny Girl.
Just for life, she
would
just
everything
she
whenever
did,
she's down.
everything she did, and then she started to do tour around. She was like the Barbara Streisand touring company would do her music but Barbara sort of I think
blesses this.
Yeah, exactly, allowed it. But I was like, so you guys are good friends now, and she's like.
She doesn't say anything.
She pretends her phone is ringing. Just kind of walks away.
Yeah, nothing's ringing.
Barbara.
Pretended her water was ringing.
The longest Barbara Streisand theme
ever on
conversation
Sklarbro
this
country.
Okay. I'm really happy to be part of it.
We get into it every week.
I disagree. I listen to the show and I disagree.
So let's put aside the Barbara talk.
And let's get into the heavy sports talk. No, you said
I'm out of here. I'm leaving.
No, you said you're a light Mets fan. Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Queens.
In Queens.
And I grew up in Hell's Kitchen, West 40s in Manhattan.
Did you really grow up in New York City?
Yeah.
I did not know that about you.
What was it? And Hell's Kitchen at a time when it was hellish.
80s.
Bless your heart, 70s and 80s. It was a transitioning out of hellish.
Well, what did your folks do? Why were you in Hell's Kitchen?
It's a fine question. My mom was at the time a stay-at-home, and my dad worked across town in the paper industry. My dad was basically Michael
Office.
Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a customer rep for the paper industry.
That's so funny.
And I might add, was the funniest guy in his office. So he was like,
Was he really?
Michael Scott.
Our dad, at the same time, worked for Tension Envelope, which is a phenomenal name for a company.
The fact that like there's just says
amazing.
tension on your letterhead.
Oh, I'm
just
so...
someone like
And it's not like because it was like Dave Tension owned it. No, it was Tension out for some freaking reason.
Is there a certain degree of like physical tension that has to be in an envelope for it to work? Is it like a spring?
No.
Pressure sensitive? I don't know what it was, but all I know is that our dad worked essentially at a paper company. They made paper, and he was the funniest guy at that paper company.
Fascinating.
I
And
like
he was-
that. I knew we were destined to be.
There we are.
So you kind of got the comedy bug from him a little bit.
I think I did. Only
Just watching him make,
watching him just. I'd go to office, and of course it's Mad Men. Everyone's smoking in their office.
Yeah,
and
sure.
fucking
Yeah.
discussing
Yeah.
in the 70s. It's
Yeah.
phenomenally filthy. And I've got black lung. I've got a spot like a coal miner on my lung. And he, I would just wonder, watch him wander around doing bits with everybody, and I was like, wow, my father's really funny. Why is he here?
Yeah.
And
Did he ever have other aspirations, or
I think he did. Yeah,
He did.
I don't think they were ever. A telling fact about my father: only job he ever really, really loved was being a page for Jack Parr at
No
30 Rock.
way.
He was a page for the Tonight Show in the
Wow.
early '60s for a couple of years, and then thought, well, this isn't a serious career, and then ended up in the paper industry.
unreal?
Heartbreaking, right?
The fact
Yeah.
that like your dad had like a normal job and your mom was a stay-at-home mom and you lived in New York City. How crazy
Obviously,
is
rent-controlled apartment.
It's a rent-stabilized apartment.
Is
yes.
it still there? They're still there?
My father's passed away. My mom is still in the apartment that she started renting in 1974. She will fucking kill me for bringing this up, but she is basically the reason the rents in that neighborhood sucks, because they're just waiting for my mom to die and then they move in, because she's sitting there in a 2-bedroom in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And don't even ask me the number. There's not
I
a chance
can't-
in hell.
I can't, but I'm going to guess it's 484.
It's low. and yeah,
Is it a nice apartment?
It's all right, yeah. I mean, everything in New York. The thing is, you grow up in New York and you're like, wow, I got a nice little apartment here. And then you go to any other city in the world.
You go to New Jersey.
You go to
You're like,
you
what
go
am I
right across
doing?
the river, and you're like, oh my God, I
live like a rat.
Look,
I
I
live
live
like
like
a
a rat. And then
ton
you go back to your place in New York City. You're like, oh, I'm Gulliver. I'm bumping into the ceiling here, and I took some of Alice's potion.
Right.
And
Well, you sit on your couch and you're like, I shouldn't be able to, in my living room, see like all of our, paper towels that we're keeping for the house.
And
like,
the
you know
neighbor,
what I mean?
you're so intimate with the neighbors. Like, like the chest hair pattern of the guy who lives across.
Do you remember your neighbors?
Absolutely.
Who was like, were they
I
characters?
literally had a guy who I lived on the back. That we were in the back. My room is a back apartment, and it looked over what I called the shit pit, which is where when all the building went down and put their garbage in, which was a delight during the summer. And right across
Hot
the way,
garbage in New York.
Hot garbage in New York, can't beat it. I was there for the garbage strike of the late '70s.
Oh,
too.
good times.
Sure, that-
Apocalyptic.
How bad was that?
I do not fear the end of the world.
Why
I do not fear the coming apocalypse.
didn't
because-
Redford and Streisand make a movie about that?
That's a strike
Garbage
to talk
strike,
about.
that is.
Garbage strike.
But I had two guys. There was a guy over eye level on this window who was just walking around with his shirt off all the time, so I really intimately knew his chest hair pattern.
What was it? Just like a hawk?
No, he had like a big clump in the middle and then like 2 satellites.
High up near the
right near
shoulders.
either clavicle, right?
Yeah.
And then right across over here, there is a guy who, honest to goodness, played alto saxophone. So I'd be sitting doing my homework in New York City with a lone saxophone across
God.
the shit pit.
Just trying to work it out.
And apparently, I'm like, I feel like I should probably open a detective agency or something, because I'm wasting this perfect atmosphere.
Just like silk stocking.
Yeah,
Literally,
your
like-
show, your life became like a film noir.
By the way, if Clarence Clemens lived next door to you,
You'd
be
still
like,
be pissed.
"This
David
is annoying."
Sanborn.
David Sanborn was there. This is
if
annoying.
Miles Davis lives across, you'd be like, all right, enough with the fucking
Enough,
experimentation.
enough. We get it.
We get it. You can do.
You're
music.
in a blue period. We get it.
It was pretty fascinating.
And
yeah.
were you and you went to school obviously in the city, probably nearby? Did you go to the 52nd Street?
I am a public school graduate of the New York City public school system.
Oh my
It's
Lord.
so amazing because
Look
I
at me,
actually
I can
don't.
read, too.
I don't think of you as a New York City guy. I think of you like as a Chicago or a Boston guy. But like
Boston
the fact
guy,
that
that's
you.
interesting.
But the
I get
fact-
Chicago sometimes because
Well, did you
of the improv.
because the improv? Well, did you leave New York to start improv, or did you do that?
I did it in. I started UCB in New York and then moved to LA about 11 years ago.
You were part of the early wave of UCB. Your sketch,
Early-ish, yeah,
your
98.
sketch team was who
The
was
Naked Babies.
Naked Babies,
which we had. We just had Cordry on. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
sure.
Cordry,
Seth Morris, and Brian Husky.
and we just had
Seth Morris on, and Husky we will have on. I mean, that's like.
Wait. Did
You
I beat Husky?
You beat Husky. You beat Husky to the
suck
but
it,
only because of a
Husky.
scheduling problem.
And you beat
Just
your
kidding.
wife to the punch. So ha.
I beat my wife all the time.
Good to
Easy,
know. Good to
folks,
know.
and we'll be right back. So
I
that's.
wish I had an alto sax.
I want to try and find some David Sanborns.
Please don't.
Please
do it.
don't. He's
Don't
gonna
do
he's
it.
gonna thrust him back into his childhood there. It is amazing. I feel like kids who grew up in the city have like this view of the world, or just they were like so far light years ahead of everybody else.
Well, you know, it's weird. What I feel like is,
Or were you sheltered a little bit?
well, your parents shelter you out of sheer necessity, and then you end up lashing out, and then that becomes like what your childhood is about, is you pushing your curfew and your parents having extremely legitimate reasons.
'Cause it's New York City.
It's New York fucking city in the 80s. This
Yeah.
is Ed Koch's New York. Get off the goddamn subway at 3 a.m.
Right,
You know, like
exactly.
real common sense shit like
and
that.
you're like, oh.
And I'm like, no, I'm just going to the show, and I want to come back at whatever at 1:00,000 in the morning, and
Yeah.
that's my story. Hang on. Guys, I got to finish my algebra. Guys, I got to finish my algebra.
Yeah, finish out.
I got algebra, I got earth science, and I got
By
social
the way,
studies.
for a saxophone song, there is no sax in the first set.
No, there it is.
There we go. Does this take you
What
right
does this
back?
take you to?
Take
Right
you back
now.
to
Actually, no,
fourth
this isn't, because remember, it was just a solo saxophone.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
takes me to, like, yes, I need to get my teeth cleaned, and I should probably get a couple fillings. I have been flossing semi-regularly.
Guys, I saw a clip of Joe Walsh playing at like a Guitar Heroes thing, and in like 1992 in Barcelona. And I would say watch the clip. We'll put a link for it up here. Watch the clip just to see the black dude who was playing the bass. The colorful vest he was wearing.
92?
Yeah, it was like black dude, Seinfeld bass, colorful vest, black turtleneck. I mean, it was like everything.
Do you ever see footage of the Stones from that era with, like, the
No, you
bright,
just
the
talked-
lime,
I
the
just
lime
talked-
green blazer?
I just talked about this with my kids. I was trying to, because my youngest daughter, Georgia, who
Yeah.
is Nola's age,
Yeah.
Georgia was saying that she was just singing Moves Like Jagger. She loves that song, Moves Like Jagger. And so I was like, you guys want to see what Mick Jagger looks like?
And the best you could do was 1992?
No, I found Hang Fire, the
Which
video.
is kind of
all right,
in that ballpark.
No,
late
it's not in that
80s.
That's
ballpark.
early 80s,
Mid-80s,
right?
early
It
80s.
is.
That's off
And-
Tattoo You, right?
Yeah,
Right?
and like it is like a raw video of just like Mick Jagger looking
Tight,
really,
like wearing basically like a what a
it's
leotard.
tight murrayed like leotard singlet, and
Singlet.
he scared the shit out of my kids. I mean, he basically was just
If
like,
you want to put the nail in the coffin, give me shelter tonight.
Give
Go
me
home. Show her, give me shelter. Show
come
her the
on,
scene.
people.
Show her
Let's
the
get
Stop
together.
fighting.
Stop it.
Stop
Keith,
fighting.
Keith, please.
Keith, please.
Stop
Keith, please
fighting.
stop. Keith, please.
Show
I'm trying to talk to the people. Keith, please.
Show them the scene where the Hells Angels kill that guy, and that'll put the
Which-
nail in the Jagger thing for a while.
which is kind of crazy. But and by the way, the Hells Angels have no excuse. But I will say this: that in that video, you see the guy kind of like try and stick up for somebody, and then get the pool cue over the head, like. Or stabbed, like you see him.
Oh, the guy
like,
who got stabbed was carrying a gun.
Yeah,
It's just a
No, it's a
terrible
mess.
evening.
The
It's
whole thing is a mess.
It's
It was
all bad.
Like
yeah.
even in the early stuff when
Like,
like people were fighting during Jefferson Starship being on stage when it's like daytime.
I know.
It's like 12 hours before the actual thing.
Marty Balin got
Ugh.
like hit in the face,
And
you
then
know?
Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead shows up, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh wow, Marty got knocked out, huh?" And he just could not give a shit, and
He's
that's
like,
why the
yeah.
'60s died right
yeah,
there.
right
Yeah,
there
exactly.
in that moment when they step off the plane, they're like, "Oh, really?"
Really? Not kidding.
we're not gonna do
Do we
that.
get a longer set now. They're just absolutely all out for themselves.
Like at that point, they're like, we got to get into merch. We can't do this. We got to get into merch. So Mets fan, 80s Mets fan.
Do you remember obviously Daryl
sure.
Strawberry, the Coke days? The
I remember the Coke days. I remember where I was for the 86 series.
Yeah, did you go to any of the games?
I didn't go to any games, no, but I
should have been around like your
prom
for you or a homecoming dance or something.
Just shy of prom, a few years before prom, actually. But it was the thing about the Mets that interests me is, well, a couple things. One, they're underdogs in their own city, and that's kind of rare.
They'll never live up to the Yankees.
They'll never ever live up to the Yankees. The Yankees have won, what is it now, 26 of all the World Series ever played?
Yeah,
a full 1/4
They've
of all
won
the
a ton, yes.
Yeah, and the Mets are holding fast at 2.
Right.
A far younger franchise, but still.
Amazing
2.
Mets in 69.
Well, I mean, the Miracle Mets. The Miracle Mets of 69 were unbelievable. And then 86, that's it. But what was crazy about the Mets, and people tell us in New York, you're a Mets-Jets fan. Mets, Nets. and then you're Yankees, Knicks,
Blankies.
and Giants.
Yankees.
That's it. That's all you are.
And everybody's a Rangers fan.
Everyone's a Rangers fan. I mean, there must have been crazy boxing matches down the street at Madison Square Garden. Did you ever
I went to. I've seen like 3 games at Madison Square Garden. I saw
as a kid.
As a kid, I saw Knicks Heat. I saw a Rangers Winnipeg game. I've never seen a boxing match in person. Oh, you know what I saw? I saw my mom had a boss when she started working after the divorce. She had a boss who was really into wrestling, and so I saw.
You went and saw professional wrestling.
I saw
at Madison
WrestleMania
Square.
in the '80s with Hulk Hogan.
Oh no! Yes, you did.
George Animal Steel,
Phenomenal.
like all the big.
So your boss
fucking
gave your
names.
mwe tickets for you.
He took us. I guess he was just kind of like doing a friendly thing.
Was your boss hitting on your mom?
I don't think he was
okay.
actually. We went, and it was just awesome. It was
of course.
the most breathtaking thing because it's all perfectly staged and it's awesome.
But it's also so very powerfully redneck, and to have that right in the heart of New York City.
Fascinating. Well, what
awesome.
happens is you get a lot of, with all due respect to our neighbors to the immediate west, you get a lot of Jersey.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jersey
comes
up in that
for
piece.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. People are like, I
Jersey
just got to get it out. I mean, it's
Yeah.
either me watching it or me playing it out on my wife later.
Yeah. And make no mistake, there's redneckery to be had in all 5 boroughs.
Oh, hell yes.
We would go to wrestling matches in St. Louis, and we got into it as much as we were up in people's faces as much
yelling
as
at the bad guys.
Dude, I remember the face that Hulk Hogan made when he got tagged in. This is 25 years ago at this
remember
point.
his face.
That man was in such control of a crowd.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Amazing.
Such control.
Why
of
The moment when he
why
gets
can't he
hit-
control his children?
well, that's it.
Or his
It's
ex-wife.
not for me to say. Not for me to say,
Isn't
because
that
he could
funny?
handle an entire arena full of
20,000
people. He had
people,
them
easy.
right here.
Right.
It was uncanny.
And
Daughters.
the face that he made.
Was just like he put his hand. He's like, tag me and tag me and tag
Yeah.
me, and they just wait for just the moment when he knew he's
they get
boom.
The face, the power
And
face.
I lost my mind. I was like,
People
I can't
go
believe
crazy.
how into this I am.
Well, and on some level, it had to spark something inside of you, the performer in you. Were you performing back then? Were you doing any theater stuff or no?
No, I was too shy. I was doing stage tech. I was backstage.
You
the
were
whole time.
backstage the whole time.
I was
So what
assistant
made
stage
you-
manager for all of high school?
What
Were
made
you
you
really?
walk
I
out-
really was. I was the AV guy.
You were the AV guy. Well, what made you walk out to the front and say, I want to be in front of the curtain?
Really quick, so it doesn't turn into Inside the Actor's Studio.
You were in New York City.
What happened in
Then
1989?
along came Tennessee Williams.
I was. I studied to be a high school teacher.
You did?
I did, and I
Didn't you play a teacher on a show?
Yeah, a couple times.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah,
How do you
you,
like
were,
that?
So
you
you
are James Lipton.
So it did kind of work out for that.
Didn't
Kinda
you have
worked
a
out.
friend
I did
who
a year. I went back
criticized-
to my old high school and taught for 1 year. So that got me over the shyness.
And then amazingly, they
then-
canceled your high school.
then they canceled
Everything
my
you
high
go
school.
in
Your
gets
high school
canceled.
only went like 9 months. That's
Yeah, they did a
unbelievable.
full 21 episodes and they canceled it.
CBS
You
canceled
laugh.
your high school.
My high school has been canceled. It is closed. It closed because of a Regents cheating scandal a couple years ago. I'm not kidding.
Les
Long after I left.
Les Moonves was like, I don't get
They're
it.
saying
I don't get this high school.
They're
I don't
saying
get anything they're
Regents
doing in there.
scandal, but
I don't get this
we
high
know
school.
it.
This is not playing to the flyover stage.
Flyover states do not get this high school. All right.
They wouldn't have. Taught high school. Was laid off at the end of the year with all the new teachers. I didn't do anything wrong. Make that abundantly clear.
Didn't touch anybody.
Was in a band for a couple of years. Band
Yeah,
broke up.
What was the band?
Egghead.
Fantastic.
you can
What was
find
the
us on
style?
iTunes.
What was the style?
Garagey melodic punk.
Love it.
I just wanted you to be like REM.
And so, and for
soft jazz and
David Sanborn and Company.
Sort of thing. Do you know Matheny?
Of course, the Pat Metheny group.
And so the
I
band
was the group.
Slow train coming, long train coming.
Long train coming.
Is it long train coming?
A slow train coming. I don't know who knows.
Anyway,
so-
band breaks up, and I start.
Weather report.
So you step in, and you're
I'm just naming weird acid jazz. He was in Weather Report.
I was in Spyro Gyra for a while, and that's it. We don't heighten off that.
No,
We're done.
no,
We're done.
Acid jazz. We've done it. All right,
Okay.
done it.
So band, and then
Band breaks up, and then
But you're in the band, so you're performing. So
I'm
you're
performing.
out there.
I'm getting out there in my 20s, and I'm
What
getting up on
instrument did you play?
stages. Bass, and I sang about
Nice.
half the songs.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So you okay? So you're performing at that point.
Yeah.
Were you being funny in the banter in between?
Yes.
Okay. So
I would argue that I was in charge of the banter.
And-
That was probably my greatest contribution to the band.
you would argue. You would argue to us right now that you were in charge of the banter. You wouldn't argue on stage that you were in charge of the banter. Although that
now
would
that
be
you
a funny
mention it,
bit.
both.
Okay.
both.
All right.
Every-
So
that worked on every
and so
level.
you got the laughs, and then in that moment of getting the laughs, you're like, ooh.
Well, when the band broke up, and a friend was like, "You should start taking improv classes,"
And suddenly you were
And,
back in the paper company, being like, "Dad, I gotta go do it."
You know what I was doing was I was in my band broke up, and I had this day job writing brochures for Price Waterhouse, and was like, I am going to be the funniest guy in this office if I don't do something drastic.
If I don't, so you look back at your dad and you're like, "All right, I gotta
I
go."
kind of did, yeah.
Unbelievable.
And I
And
was like, I
was he
got-
able to see any of the stuff you ever did? Like,
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, he was impressed in his tight ass Episcopalian way, but yeah, he was he was
He
pleased.
had to have been psyched. I
He
mean,
had
had to have been psyched
He
for
was psyched.
you.
Apparently, what I was told was that he was very cool. Like, hey, good job. But apparently, he would crow to
Of course,
his coworkers.
it's great.
And such.
That's
So, yeah.
amazing.
That's a dad's way.
Yeah, that's a
Amazing.
dad's way.
And now with kids, is your son athletic? Does he?
We were just talking about that. He's turning into a jock despite.
getting a
He's
little-
kind of like a bruiser. I mean,
kind of
he
a
is
bruiser.
a bruiser.
he's
that
a
kid.
solid little kid, isn't he?
He's a
little
solid
fireplug.
kid, but what if he like gets like crazy into sports and you're gonna be the sports dad?
I will
Like
support him.
Okay,
in
of course you
every
will.
way
See, I love
can.
that. Now we were. I was down over Memorial Day weekend. I ran into Matt Silverstein, who wrote the episode of Action that we did. Remember Matt Silverstein, Matt and Dave as partners?
Yeah. So Matt Action was the Jay Moore show. on
I
Fox.
was talking about Action not 3 hours ago. Weirdly, but
I interned with or
He interned on a show that you worked on.
He interned on a show that I was a PA on Exit 57. Of all
yeah,
shows.
sure.
You know, the
Stevie
Paul
Amy
Colbert,
Sedaris
Amy
and,
Sedaris, Stephen
yeah,
Colbert, Mitch
Rouse.
Rouse, like that whole
Yeah.
sort of. So we worked together years ago. Anyway, I saw him at this resort, and his son is now 11. And his son he looks so cool. His son looks like a mini Eric Stoltz, but he is an incredible basketball player to the point where he's like, I'm traveling every weekend. I was like, for work? He said, no, for basketball. And
with
this
an
guy,
11-year-old.
yes, he's like this. We're going to Vegas. We're going to Phoenix. We're going to all these like regional games. And this is a guy who did again, like not a sports person at all. It's sort of like not a curse, but I mean, it's kind of amazing that that this is now his life and this is his path.
No, it is fun. It is so funny. And whenever I see an athlete like after a game, thank God for whatever they got or received, I'm like, you know who you just slapped in the face with
Your parents,
dick, your mom
parents
and your dad.
who drove you to this.
Did God take the weekend off and drive you to Bakersfield? No. Your mom did.
So you're gonna have long
thank
trips
God
to the
third.
Inland Empire.
Thank God third.
Wow.
As he starts to do like male field hockey or whatever.
I don't know what his sport's going to be because he's still so little. What was great was that my daughter signed up. We signed my daughter up for soccer, and she immediately had the Bowie sports gene. Just scored on her own team and
lit
got
the field on fire.
Got one injury that was she took it with Georgia, didn't she?
Yeah,
she
yeah.
got there. Yeah, got one injury which she got. She was tending the goal and she picked her nose till it bled. That was her sports
Classic
injury.
sports injury.
Classic sports injury.
LeBron is dealing with that right
I
now
know.
before the
I'm
finals.
sure
so,
he is.
Yes, we know that.
And so I was like, well, okay, there's one down. She's clearly not longed for this. Fine. We're going to keep her in shape and we'll make sure she exercises, but this is not a team sports player.
That's right.
But then I come in to pick up Walter, my 3-year-old, and they're like, he had such a great time in PE today. And I'm like, I don't know what you just said.
I don't know
Oh,
how
dear
you
God.
Strung
process
words
this.
together that don't make any
Dear
sense.
God,
I've
no.
heard them before. I don't know
I
how
have, but
they
not
fit
in that
a
sequence
sentence.
and not in relation to anyone from my family.
Not to me.
Not
for
to
that
me.
for that
Not to.
instance. Right? Well, who knows? You might get into it. I want to do some quick hits with you.
Yes.
Let's take a little break.
Yes.
When we come back, we got some quick hits, great stories. Plexico Burris, New York story, launching a luxury sock line.
Get get into that.
We'll get into that. And then later on the show, first time ever on Sklarbro Country, Michael Douglas.
Yes, I'm very
Thank you to those who stuck with us through the glitch, the YouTube glitch. We're
up and running.
Up and running on VPN. And tomorrow, for those of you who will be listening to the podcast, you're unaffected by this.
Yeah.
Who is this?
This is Deer Hunter. There's a lot of deer-based bands. Deer Tick.
I'm a huge Deer Tick fan. There's Deer Hunter. There's
Deer Hoof?
Deer Hoof, which is ladies, I think.
I'm going to put antlers in that thing
Sure,
as
yeah,
well.
by all
Right? That
means.
could be moose, but it could be deer as well.
This song is back to the middle. We're coming back to the middle of the show right after this. Sklarbro Country 151. Stay with us. All right, we are back. A VPN live streaming Sklarbro Country 150. I said 151. I went 150.
The sesquicentennial, as John Ross Bowie said.
Yes.
Sesquicentennial.
My blood
quick
sugar
to
was
jump
low.
on that. Quick to jump on that. The sesquicentennial.
I was a little too eager, I would argue.
Was that a little too eager?
No, he's not.
It just
No,
shows
too
you.
eager.
It shows you how little sports he did play.
Yeah. Anyone who can drop a
How
sesquis.
quickly he is that sesquicentennial? I was
Yeah.
like, he didn't play anything.
We watched a lot of Waiting for Guffman. Wasn't that their anniversary?
Yeah,
the
the
sesquicentennial.
That's right,
Of
yeah.
the
Waiting for
small
Guffman.
town.
I
That's
love
right.
that.
Thank you.
I love that. What do you think about living in LA now? And are you like you're raising your kids in LA?
I am.
You're an LAite. I mean, you've laid down roots as
I've laid down roots. I learned how to drive finally.
Jesus, you
I mean,
didn't
what
know
do
how to
you-
drive
so
growing
I
up.
didn't know how to drive.
The
growing
fact
up.
that we came from St. Louis, so middle. We were in New York for a while, and then to come over here
remember.
is like a different thing. But what is that for you? Do you feel like you're cheating on New York a little bit?
No, I've gotten over that part. I feel like I really just do not know how my parents did it raising a kid in New York. I just don't know how. I'm not entirely sure why.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that people go ooh when they find out I was raised in New York.
Yeah.
That's it. That was a nice little investment for the future.
It's great investment. For you.
But yeah, I'm thrilled to be raising my kids here. Although I'll say this, my children are the biggest pussies about weather. In
Are they
the
really?
Oh, I bet
world.
they are.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It's like slightly cold in the morning. Yeah, my daughter was complaining about the weather being cold. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Are you fucking kidding
This isn't
me?
like go to Portland.
Grow
Go
a
to
pair.
Portland.
Then
Become
never
a
see it.
Packers fan.
I was like, seriously, go to Portland.
Do 4 years in college in central New York, lady, and then we'll talk about cold. Your goddamn hair.
Stonyanta.
Stonybrook. Ithaca's.
Ithaca's.
Did you
Did you go to Cornell?
I went to Ithaca College.
Ithaca College across the
Yeah,
road.
across the
It's at
road.
the down at the bottom of the thing. Yeah.
No, I would argue that it's actually on the taller of the two hills. I will have you know.
We performed there at Ithaca College. It was a lot of
Really?
fun in the
Smart,
giant cafeteria. I think
Smart,
it was
good
great.
people there.
Giant cafeteria. I know exactly.
You know that giant mess hall, that great hall kind of a thing? Like 500 people showed up. It was a great
Love
show.
that.
yeah.
Truly
Loved
loved
it.
College likes to party.
Great.
College loves to
Great
party.
And in the shadow, I mean, not in the shadow. Cornell was in your shadow. Let's be honest.
Literally, Cornell is in our shadow.
In your shadow.
Figuratively, on any sort of other metric,
Yes.
we are in their shadow.
Sure.
Did you have a lot of
100%.
Did you have a lot of run-ins with the Cornell?
No,
folk?
they don't leave campus because they're doing homework and
Yeah.
getting ready to take over the planet.
Or jumping off gorges.
Or jumping off gorges once a year. You know that
Once a
story.
year, sure.
Once a year while I was up there. and
Someone
then my
would die.
senior year, they lost a student and a teacher jumping into the gorge. So much so that one of the fraternities painted a target on the rocks at the bottom of the 6 Mile Gorge.
That's so
what I call
sweet.
smart and sweet.
All right, let's
Certainly not disrespectful to the victims.
No, let's get
Or the
into
families.
let's get into
some quick hits.
something that's uplifting a little bit more.
And that is Plexico Burris. former-
Frank, by the way, Frank Capello on the ones and twos.
live doing the old
Zeros
quick
and
hits
ones.
on the zeros and ones. Plexico Burris is nothing if not a brilliant entrepreneur. When you think of Plexico Burris, you think two things: one, Super Bowl champion, and two, luxury socks.
Luxury socks. Are you familiar with Plexico Burris? He's a wide receiver. He was on the Giants, on the World Championship Giants.
Okay.
Went to the nightclub, had a gun in his sweatpants. It kind of
Went
fell down,
off,
shot himself in the
shot
foot.
himself in the foot.
It wasn't a licensed gun, and so therefore he went to jail. He literally spent a few years in jail. He went back, and now he's in the NFL again. But still,
The NFL is a forgiving entity.
aren't they?
Aren't they?
But he
They
got
really
a
seem
job.
to
If
be.
you can play, you're going to play.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't
sure.
matter how many people you beat up. It doesn't matter. Or if you
How many
shot
women?
yourself.
How many wives you beat up?
At least that's like, all right. So Plax launches his line of luxury socks in New York City nightclub.
At a nightclub. Which is obviously the place where you would launch a luxury sock line.
Sure, sure.
Right, you've been to a lot of luxury sock openings, have you not?
Constantly, I've got one to go to after this. But but
Are you gonna walk the red carpet in your shoes?
Yeah,
I think it's so much
no,
better.
I'm taking it off.
That's right.
Luxury sock.
That's what everybody's got to do.
But what is it that makes a luxury sock, or am I tipping the hand?
Well, when
here?
I was growing up, it was Golden Toes. Remember Golden Toe socks?
Those are luxury socks.
Now, if I'm having a Golden Toe sock luxury launch at a nightclub, I'm going to have the video game Golden Tee playing while I'm there.
Maybe.
Which is a golf video game involving
$24 a pair. That's what these socks are. $24 a pair.
I mean, sock.
Is it one of those things where, like, if you just price it high enough, rich people will be like, "We got to get these,"
because
they're not poor people socks. They're
not
rich
poor people socks.
$24 is a lot. Have you paid $24 for a pair of socks?
I've paid $24 for like a set of 3, maybe.
All right. Still, some people might say
not
that's
even
a lot.
that. No, that isn't right
Probably
at all.
4.
No. Yeah.
Probably 4
Probably
for
about
24.
4 for 24.
And you're like,
probably 4 for 18.
4 for 18, and you're like, I just bought expensive socks.
By the way, is it a good
Well, I
idea?
kind of blew it out on socks.
It is. Is it a good idea to call it a launch? The last time
He launched
was at a
something-
nightclub and he launched something. It got him.
launched
Shot
into
him
his
in
foot.
jail.
Yeah, that's a bad call. I wouldn't say that's a good call at all.
By the way, I don't know if I'd want to buy luxury socks from a wide receiver. I feel like a kicker. You know what I mean? Like and at best, if a barefoot kicker from the 80s.
I vehemently agree with you. And that is the strongest opinion I've ever held on football.
There you go.
Right there.
Right
Then
there.
if you're going to buy a luxury sock, buy it from a kicker.
If David
Foot
Akers,
care. It's just foot care.
foot
It's
care.
common sense.
This guy's whole career rests
Wide
on his
receiver is
feet.
all catching.
That's right.
These are feet you can trust. David
are
Akers'
feet
feet.
you can trust.
Not Plaxico Burress. The guy shot himself in the foot. Doesn't care about his feet.
Tony Franklin, barefoot kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles in the 80s.
Now, but remind me though, Plaxico Burress, he is House Lannister, or he is?
He is Targaryen.
Okay, thank you.
He's Targaryen.
Won't happen again.
So
Yes.
he actually would take care of the dragons.
Understood.
And
That
fed
is an
them,
awesome name.
Fed them.
That is an awesome name.
Plaxico Burress?
Yes.
Yeah, it is a very like Game of Thronesy name, if you will. But what I love about Plax is that if I'm gonna buy a sock,
Oh, is he Plax to you?
yeah,
He's
when we talk,
Plax. He's like-
when I text him, it's
pillow
Plax.
talk. When you pillow talk, it's black.
I said to him, man, $24, you better put a holster in those socks. Like it's got on an inside. Like,
For
come
this
on,
guy.
but that's a move. Gun in the sock is a move.
You knew
And
who I
also, I think it would show a great sense of humor on his part. You know what he should
Hilarious.
do? He should have a bunch of Cornell frat students paint a target on the sock.
There you go.
There it goes.
Wiving it all together.
That's what 15 years of improv sounds like, guys.
That's it, guys.
brings
He
it
does- he
all
doesn't
back
just-
around.
He literally has the tools in his back pocket. He brings them out whenever he needs to. I would buy a sock from former Cub Barry Foote.
Yes,
Or Larry Foote.
Larry Foote, NFL linebacker Larry
Why aren't
Foote.
these guys selling luxury socks? Larry Foote?
What about
Get the foot for your feet.
Famed American writer Horton Foot.
Horton Foote.
Horton Foote's luxury
Yes,
sock.
yes, I would buy luxury socks from
Horton, here's
Foote.
a sock.
Yes. He came up with the idea. He said that he's been sitting on this idea
For
for
the last
past
couple
couple
years. And he was in jail for the last couple of years. So I guess you really do have time in jail. If
Right.
you're like when you're in jail, you go
do two
one of
things.
two ways. You're like
Into
either
God.
You find
Right, yeah.
God or you launch a luxury
Or,
sock
you know, I
line.
don't say why he can't do both. He has a lot of downtime. Some it's like 8 a.m. find Islam, 9 a.m. design sock. And
Yes,
that's
he's
your
got
thing.
that kind of time to do both.
Why not?
do both? You've got that kind of time. What else are you going to be doing? Getting raped in the shower? Maybe.
I'm gonna say this.
You probably have time for all three.
The good news is that if this works and it's successful, it just means that former San Diego Charger and probably the biggest bust in NFL history, Ryan Leaf, can now launch his line of cashmere mittens.
Cashmere mittens
I
are
feel like the
fantastic.
door is open.
Someone gave me cashmere mittens as a gift once.
He's always wanted to release that.
That's
All
a
right.
fabulous gift.
Now I think we all know this, and you more than anybody
You
understand.
should understand this. You don't shit where you eat.
You don't shit where you eat.
Actually, you did.
I did.
You
did.
completely did.
I kind of shit where I eat.
You
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, you
shat
shat
where
in
you
your
ate.
own mouth.
Yeah, I did. You were referring to the fact that I started dating someone who was in my improv class.
Yeah,
and,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
And
yes.
then
And
married
then married her. Yes.
And
I
then
shit
married
where
her.
I eat and then wallowed in it and have been wallowing in it. Celebrated my 9th year anniversary of wallowing in it just last
Congratulations.
night. Actually.
You guys are the funny power couple.
Funny power couple.
Thank you.
I defy anyone to find a funnier couple.
If you're on the NASCAR circuit, that goes to you, Danica Patrick and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I mean, look, you would never see Shirley Muldowney.
The Pink Lady. She was
Pink
the Pink
Lady.
Lady. Do you know Shirley Muldowney?
That sounds very familiar.
Drag
Yeah.
racer.
And
yes.
Ricky Stenhouse Sr. getting it on.
No.
All right, but that was basically, she wasn't a NASCAR
Look, the problem with dating someone on the NASCAR circuit when you are a NASCAR driver yourself is that you could be racing against that person.
And you could wind up wrecking their car.
You could end up both dying simultaneously in a fiery wreck. Too,
Well,
which is kind
that's
of
romantic and that's amazing. But what I'm saying is
If you wreck someone's car and you both live to tell about it,
and it's your fault. You're
your
going
fault.
food shopping for the next 6 months.
Oh, easily.
In
Yeah.
that
You live at Trader
Yeah.
Joe's.
No, you're getting up with the kids every morning.
All
That's
of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ricky. You say you didn't want to go back to the store to pick up some more frozen garlic.
Oh, you didn't want to go pick up the veggie chips?
I'll do it myself. Oh, wait, you wrecked my car.
So I guess you're going to take your car, you
And then
asshole.
so
You
that's
wrecked
what
my car,
happened.
and that's what happened.
And
This
she-
is-
and
Well, no,
he's-
they keep an extra car. They don't go to the grocery store in their NASCAR.
Well,
that's
they
what
do.
he would say.
They do.
Did they really? Oh,
That's what he would say.
He would
No,
say,
ignorance.
honey.
He'd say, honey, we don't take our NASCAR.
you
And she'd be
know-
like, you know what I mean.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you properly because I actually lost some of my hearing from the crash that you
caused.
That you caused
me
when you
to
ran
be
me off
in.
the road.
Last
screwed.
weekend. Was it last weekend or the
Last
weekend
week-
before?
A couple weekends, Stenhouse Jr. actually accidentally bumped into Danica Patrick's car on the 319th lap of the Coca-Cola 600, causing her to bump into NASCAR elite driver Brad Keselowski's car, thereby causing damage to both vehicles.
Both vehicles out. So he bumps his lady.
He made it a three-way.
Oh, he made a three-way.
Wow.
Bumps his lady into another dude.
Here's the,
And this is over halfway through the race.
yeah, like you did 300 laps and then you feel like we're
You
home
couldn't
free.
do this
we're
like
on the
at the
back
beginning?
300.
Right, yeah, by all means, right?
Right?
You
Like
figure
we're on the back
You're over the
300.
hump.
You're basically you've done the second monologue and now you're into the next group of scenes of the Herald before you bring it on home.
Nice.
Kozlowski, here's the best part. He took the blame, didn't take the blame, but he publicly came out and made the statement, I feel bad for Danica and I send my apologies to her. We'll move on. That's all you can do. Now,
Either he's humble. That's a very humble move.
Very
either
humble
he's the
move.
nicest guy in the world, or that is the ultimate. He knows what he's doing.
Like
This is
wedge
best
into the relationship
ever.
Like if you're the guy who got hit by the girl who got hit by her boyfriend and you apologize first,
how does that make the boyfriend look?
where does that put him?
It puts the boyfriend maybe off the hook.
Really?
No, not off the hook.
So on a new hook? So on a new
No,
hook.
I see your point, but if he can theoretically go, listen, Kozlowski's apologized. Clearly, he is at fault. Like, what do you get into a fender bender? You get into a fender bender on Wilshire.
yeah.
You step out. No one has to claim. No one. You're supposed to
That's
not claim
right.
fault. But
No.
if somebody does claim fault,
That's
then
right.
that's it. Game closed.
Well,
His insurance is
If
paying.
a friend of yours compliments your wife and just says, "Wow, you're looking great these days,"
And
does
you
that ever-
hadn't said
you
it
hadn't
first.
said that. You have not said that in
You
a
get
while.
False
shit for it.
equivalency. False equivalency.
Don't you
How?
get-
Why?
Because we're not talking about compliments. We're talking about car wrecks.
That's
I know,
true.
true.
but
I
like-
think Kozlowski takes the bullet. Kozlowski?
Yeah.
Yes.
Takes the bullet for this.
Right.
He has absolved the boyfriend, and
To me, I think she's like, that's great. The guy I wrecked because of you is apologizing, dummy. You can't come up with a statement. He's like, we're working on, my publicist and I are working on a statement, and then he's screwed.
Yeah. Then you're out.
If he doesn't jump right on it like you were saying, like you got to be
This
a
is why you
shark.
don't drive in a race with your girlfriend.
This is
This
really why
could
you don't do
happen.
it.
Or
This is-
don't date someone on the NASCAR circuit if you're on it.
Not even someone in another pit crew. You just got to leave that out of the equation.
You go find yourself a nice CPA. I
Any
think.
crash between any other drivers and you're not
and it's not an issue. No one has to apologize to anyone.
right?
I say
Now we're like
calculated move.
walking on eggshells. We're dealing with relationships.
The only way it wouldn't be a calculated move is if Kozlowski started to take, basically take credit, not
Or the
credit,
blame,
take
really.
the blame for the car crash that is Amanda Bynes. If he
What is
starts
going
doing
on
that,
there? What is happening with this woman? Can you please, on some level,
As a father of a daughter, what is happening?
God, I really.
Where did it
I
veer
don't
off?
want to answer as a father of a daughter at all because I find it a really. There is something about it that strikes me as. All right, Lindsay Lohan, I'll show you.
They're
you got
basically
that?
playing poker. At
They
this point.
really are, and
They're upping the ante.
and I feel like Lindsay Lohan is like, wow, that girl's got to get her shit together.
Yeah,
I
when-
feel
anytime that happens,
anytime that it's time for a long look
call
in
me.
the mirror.
And you know, it's like the drunk person who's trying to help the other person who fell down. Come here, I'll drive.
Okay,
you.
we're fine. I got the keys.
We
I'm
got
good.
it.
I never went wig shopping.
Tony Stewart, Danica Patrick's boss, said that he wanted to choke Stenhouse Jr. out after that move on the track last week, and Danica sided with the boss.
Yes.
Sided with her boss. Said, "Yeah, go ahead, choke him out.
I
It's
mean,
for his own good."
It is your own. It
You know,
is
it's like
only
when
your boyfriend.
like when a teacher yells at your kid, and you're like, "Yeah,
Wow.
my kid kind of
Yeah.
deserved it.
Yeah.
Wow.
kind of needed that, right?"
There's some very complicated relationships.
You don't-
Where is the nighttime hour-long soap about NASCAR?
I don't know.
It's
You
coming soon.
you don't shit where you drive.
Coming soon
It's
to
called
the
4
History
left
Channel.
turns.
Yeah. 4 left turns and a funeral.
When it's college football recruiting season, and it's college football recruiting season now this time of year.
We don't have to tell you that. You're a big
No,
college
obviously,
football fan.
sure.
And coaches start to promise to these blue chip recruits, just unbelievable, outlandish things, just to get them. I mean, they go on the visit and they get them laid and all this stuff.
So
I saw Hoop Dreams where they do the thing where they play the tape of the guy doing color commentary for him.
Exactly.
That was the most fascinating thing.
Okay,
I mean, it's essentially like when the agencies come and like pitch the actors, like in Entourage, when they did a big thing with like trying to get.
No, they're trying to get him for Aquaman, and everyone's trying to like, we want you on the, or we can make this for you, and this is what we see you as being.
So I love that we're having to explain to him like he can't conceive of an athlete going to a
you
school.
gave an example, and then I gave an example of the exact same example.
We are completely up to speed.
So Deshaun,
anyway, so you're a 17-year-old kid, and these people are coming to you.
Deshaun Hand. This is the number one defensive end in the draft.
He learned firsthand how crazy it can get. All right.
Yes.
And by the way, I feel like if he were to,
he's going to write a book someday.
He's going to have a great career. He's going to write a book, and it's going to be called First-Hand Account.
It should be.
He's also going to have a terrific career selling gloves.
There you go. How about on the other hand?
On the other hand,
if he's being funny and like something else happens,
hands up, hands down, the finest.
No handouts.
No handouts. Deshaun Hand has been recruited by everyone. It looks like he either will go to Michigan or Virginia Tech. He's a versatile defensive.
I hope he goes to Michigan.
But he was so coveted that the coaches were basically doing anything to get him. One coach recruiting him went so far as to say, you come here, you will get to meet Michael Jackson.
Which I love. Is that even a thing?
Is that a cool thing for kids these days, meeting Michael Jackson? I mean,
yes, he's dead. Yes, we know he's dead. We're aware he's dead.
Is Jay-Z even a cool thing anymore? Is that even something?
I don't know.
The Avett brothers? Do you tell kids?
You tell
Steve Gutenberg?
Steve Gutenberg?
Steve
Landisberg?
He promised him
that he would meet Michael Jackson.
Today.
Yeah,
this is not Michael Jackson, the Southland broadcaster.
No.
Michael Jackson, the dead pop star.
That should not be your closer in 2013.
You should not, unless he knows something we don't. He's like, you will
he's
meet
the
a
greatest
fucking zombie. You want to meet a real zombie?
All these people are introducing you to celebrities. I'm going to introduce you to a fucking
How do you feel about the
zombie.
undead, bitch?
A ghost.
Yeah.
You hear
Get
me?
up in this.
So Han said, isn't he already dead?
Wisely. This is a
at
smart
that
kid.
point,
Smart
At that
kid.
point, you've only got one way to go there. You got to be like, you got to claim you were performing your own version of like a Wonderlic
You're
test.
just testing him. Is he dead? Yes, he is dead. Great answer.
You're going to
Cash.
fit in great here.
You're really good. You're really smart, kid. If you blow out your knee, you're going to have brains to fall back on.
We are going to give you a good education, Deshaun. Great job. You definitely don't want to say what the coach then said next, which was, well, then you can meet Tito.
Yeah, that's.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's not even a selling point. I mean, that is just terrible.
You say like that's what the other school was going to offer you.
Yeah, they're gonna have you meet Tito.
I'm not even going to do that.
That guy is the worst agent in the world.
The worst.
He dropped like 3. You go down to Jermaine and LaToya.
Yes.
You don't immediately backtrack all the way down to Tito.
No, you don't
That's
go to Tito
insane.
out
You use
off
that
the
as
bat.
negative fodder for other people who are going to recruit against
Yes.
you. You don't even
You're
know.
like, okay, my initial offer was Michael. You're walking away. Fine, I can get you Jermaine. And
then you go down to
way
Not even
down.
Janet. You won't even go to Janet.
Janet?
I'm
next?
sorry, Janet. Of course,
She's
yeah.
a mogul. I don't know
Janet.
if I don't even know if you can get Tito. Well, who are we kidding? You can get
You
Tito.
can get Tito.
You get Tito
I can
last-
get
you
Tito.
get-
I'm
you
going to
get-
text Tito right now.
Check Tito's iCal.
I bet in Tito's iCal it just has like every day is 10 to 6 saying like got to meet with recruits.
It's just him.
Nobody's
Constantly with
specific.
recruits.
Just I got to meet with
Well,
recruits.
this whole thing makes me think that this coach does not know that Michael Jackson has died.
He clearly can't.
He can't possibly know that he's dead.
Or who does he have him confused with?
I don't know. That's the weird
Who's
part.
alive?
The
Who's
silence.
Prince?
The silence makes me believe that he doesn't know who it was.
Which school was this for? Was this Michigan or?
It wouldn't say.
They won't say who it was.
Oh, that's
They won't say it was. But I think
shoddy
it's a school that he's not
This,
considering. anymore.
we've said it before
Yes.
on the show, and I'll say it again. This is like when our Aunt Rita said that she said to us, "You know who I can't stand?" And we're like, "Who, Aunt Rita?" She's like, "That Jay Leno." Who has not?
Who has only read Jay Leno's
'Cause
name
if
and
you
not
read
heard
it-
Never heard it out loud.
If you read it, it looks like Reno, and I can understand why
Jay
you would say
Leno.
it. But like, who in there? Like, you don't have to have seen the show to have heard his name.
No, it's not like he's an author where you would only have read his name on the
That's
front
right.
of a book.
That's right.
No.
Thankfully, Deshaun Hand got up and said, "I'm out."
Yeah, he said I'm out, which is smart. That's the way you got to go. You got to
And the recruiter said, "I want you back."
No, he said, he's like, come on back.
No, he said, "Come back. I think I can get you a meeting with Chris from Crisscross."
Oh wow!
Or was it Cross?
No, it was
Like he
Chris.
just-
It was Chris who
it was
died.
Chris.
Yeah. You like
It's
Esther
like-
Williams, kid?
Was it Chris or was it Cross? I'm always getting that backwards.
Oh!
All right. right. That's a great way to transition. We're going to take a break right now. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, John Ross Bowie. By the way, follow John Ross Bowie on Twitter. You are on Twitter, am I right?
I am on Twitter at John Ross Bowie.
At John Ross Bowie.
Are you doing more Big Bang Theory? Is that in the works? You don't know?
I don't
You're
know.
in the universe?
It is assumed that I will be back should they need to annoy Jim Parsons' character. So, yeah, let's
Fantastic.
assume I'm coming back at some point.
Isn't that crazy? You do so many things in your career and you've been on so many shows, but then there's like one thing where just it's in a jet stream, it's huge, and that becomes the thing that people know you from.
It's strange.
It's bizarre.
It is really bizarre.
It's like an iceberg.
People love that show.
People
there are
really
lots of
love
people who
that
love
show.
that show, and so I'm sure the people who stop you on the street, they're like,
Oh,
fans.
you're that guy from.
They're very nice. They're
Big
very. It really. I'm not honestly not just saying this. They have a lovely fan base of really and all sorts of people too. What's really cool is when you get people who are actually in physics,
Yeah.
or actually work for like the Jet Propulsion Laboratory,
That's right.
or work at Caltech.
Right.
And when they stop you, it's like, oh, we're obviously doing something right.
That's
right.
nice. You got through to them. All right. Well, did you watch Beyond the Candelabra? Speaking of technical
Behind the
things?
candelabra.
Beyond
I love
the
you said
candelabra.
beyond the candelabra.
I'm hesitant to say I did because I know so little about football. But yes, as a matter of fact, I did. Instead of watching football, I did watch Beyond the Candelabra. I have to say.
Behind the candelabra. We will
Behind.
I want.
Well, if you want to stick around, you're welcome to. I don't know if there's room. If there's a camera that can catch him as well,
there may not be, but
you can stick around in the lobby.
Either way, I can feed a meter. Don't worry
feed
about
the
me.
meter. We've got
Michael Douglas
is going to join us.
Very excited.
This is Lady Lamb and the Beekeeper. I love this band or this woman or I don't know what. The song is Crane Your Neck. I've heard it and I love it. Stay with us. More Sklarbro Country. Michael Douglas right after this.
It's ripping right through my bones.
All right, welcome back to Sklarbro Country, episode 150.
He's in the room with us.
Guys, how about you have the altar cocker go first? You know, you make me.
Michael Douglas is here. Yes, we do. We're live. It's happening.
It's just a joke, guys. I'm just trying to lighten the mood.
I appreciate that.
Thank
I
you,
mean, I
thank
like
you,
that
thank
you're
you.
in a mood lightening.
Guess it didn't land.
No.
No, it's like a lot of stuff. It maybe has not been landing for you
For you lately,
recently.
and thank you for coming and doing our show. I gotta say, we were a little surprised.
Great to be here. You know, Catherine and I were big fans of the show.
You're big fans of this show,
Sklarbro Country?
Sklarbro Country. I see you've got Dan Fouts working the cameraman over here.
So you know
working
a
the
little bit about
camera.
sports.
I know a
Can
lot
we
of.
get a camera on him so we can show who he is?
Dan Fouts.
that's
Wonderful that he
yeah.
found a job.
I feel like that looks less like Dan Fouts and more like Eddie Vedder.
Dan,
But-
possibly Grizzly Adams. I don't know.
All right,
Okay.
Merle
Like
Olsen, like a
Merlin
thin,
Olsen.
like a
Yeah.
hippie Merle Olsen. If you,
Yeah.
Did you call him
Merlin.
Merle Olsen? Merlin.
Guys, look, I'm here. I'm a big Sklarbro Country fanatic.
You're
Okay.
fanatic.
Wow.
Okay.
I just did, I did Liberace.
Yes.
I saw
And,
Behind the Candelabra.
Candelabra, and it definitely called into question. I mean, you were literally making out with Matt Damon a lot in that movie.
There was a lot. I felt like the movie was a great movie, maybe a little long, and the scenes that were
Well-
really long were just like scenes of you guys hooking up.
That's quite rude to say in front of my face, but I'll accept it.
Okay,
I'll
good. I
accept
appreciate
it. You know,
that.
we did a lot of research for that movie, Matt and I.
So you would hook up just on
Went,
your own.
went to Provincetown,
Great. Sure.
Massachusetts.
Sure, yeah.
We were in Speedos on a catamaran in Malta
That's
for
good.
a few
That's
weeks.
good work.
Smart.
That's
You know,
great.
I was
Smart.
over at Rage. I actually got a job over at Rage.
I don't know what
gay bar.
Rage
It's a
is.
gay bar in
Okay.
West
I
Hollywood.
was dancing in a cage over there.
Did they like that?
They loved it,
Because for Liberace and the thing, it looked like they were like, don't work out. Definitely do not work out.
Well, you know what? Dancing in a cage, you don't actually have to dance. You just sort of,
stand around.
stand around
It's not
and
a
look
big
sexy.
workout.
You know,
It's not a good workout.
and I made some good money over there too, which was nice.
Which you needed.
I made
Because-
about $75 a night.
That's
And
a
it
lot.
So
was-
are you saying that Catherine Zeta-Jones's T-Mobile money has dried up a
that
little
contract is over?
It's
We've
over.
spent whatever's come in.
bit? Okay,
Okay.
guys, I
So,
understand.
Catherine, we're looking if Verizon is listening.
All right, well,
or,
she could do it. She's a spokeswoman.
Sprint.
All right, so
Also was in charge of cutting out the glory holes over at Rage.
You cut them out.
Yeah, I
With
would.
what?
I,
like a drill?
Well, we
type
get a
of
drill, sort of.
Yeah. And you got to make sure the edges aren't
chainsaw.
rough. Yeah, you got to make sure the edges aren't rough.
Definitely, you know exactly where. You'd be
smoothing those-
great at it. Yeah,
well,
smoothing
all
the
right.
edges is really what I.
Maybe
what
that
I-
should
what
be
really-
Mikey D does, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, you're smoothing the edges, as it were.
So you're here. This is a sports show. I know you're also going on Sports Center. You're doing, I think, Dan Patrick's show.
The thing is, guys, I'm all about sports. I've always have been, And, you guys, people know I did the Liberace movie, but I want people to know who are listening at home that Mikey D is about sports. I've always been about sports since I was 13
I
years
don't know
old.
if you've always been about.
If you look, Randy, if you look at some of my movies, Traffic, if you look at Romancing the Stone, Falling Down, heavily
Romancing the Stone. I mean, yeah, I can understand. Like
not
if,
sports per se
but
in
whip-
there, but a
but
competitive
macho,
spirit,
like
Yes,
whip
a
work.
competitive spirit.
whip work and stuff
The
like
whip
that.
work, yeah, I trained with a great whip artist
master,
for
whip
that.
master. Yeah.
Diving from that rock was
Yeah.
very athletic.
It's almost like cliff diving. From
It is.
Acapulco.
It is.
So when people think of sports, I want them to think of me, and that's why I'm on the
You
show.
don't want them.
So you don't want what the recent work, and obviously it was lauded for a lot. You don't want people to forget, to lose sight of the fact that you are into sports.
Yeah,
You don't want people to say, okay, you want people to say, this, look at what Michael Douglas was able to do in this Liberace movie. He's
Not look
he's not
at this.
saying he's revealing who his true self
Not
is.
he's exploring a piece of him that was maybe unexplored.
Yeah, guys, look it. I love basketball, baseball, hockey,
Yeah.
women's gymnastics,
Ooh.
the lingerie bowl.
You like the
I think
lingerie
is a
bowl?
great sport.
Well, what do you love
Is
about?
what I'm trying to say.
What do you really love about basketball and football? What are the parts of sports that you
One
love the most?
time, I also would just love to be a correspondent on the show.
On our show,
Yeah.
please.
Well,
I
maybe
would
you
love
will
that.
be. I
Maybe
love
I'll
it.
pitch you a couple stories. Right
Sure,
here?
sure.
Love to hear it.
All right. One time I was at a Laker game, and I was in the front row,
Of course.
and both teams scored over 100 points.
Right. It's a high-scoring league. There's not a lot of defense during the regular season.
That's an anecdote right there.
That's a
High scoring. That's the kind of thing I would bring to the show.
okay.
all right.
Another time I was at a Dodger game, and someone pitched the ball. The person hit it past the pitcher, past the second baseman,
Got it.
past the outfield,
Uh-huh.
and over the fence.
That's a home run.
I saw two of those that
You
day.
saw two of them.
So you're clearly a big
So
sports
I'm a
fan.
sports
just,
guy.
Even just hearing you describe that, I
Yeah.
know that you know sports.
Guys, Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
When we were doing Basic Instinct,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone and I, we were swimming. We were swimming.
So you had done some swimming.
She didn't have time to put the panties on.
So no one expected that.
Yeah.
So
it all ties in, as you can see.
So you love sports. You love every aspect of the game. I
Yeah.
mean, what is the thing you love the most about when you went? That was my question to you before. Not some. What are your anecdotes? But what do you
No.
love most about sports?
You know what? I just love the way that guys get in there and start grabbing each other in football, and they get up against each other, man on man.
Yeah.
And when men pile on top of each other.
You love that.
You like that.
Sort of the musculature.
Yeah.
If you look at an athlete,
Yeah.
a macho athlete, like, look at this. Obviously, my male sexuality is making
The
Yeah.
rawness
Making-
of it is
making
causing
it-
signs to fall
yeah.
down.
So you like it when guys are on top of each other.
Look at this very sexy athlete, this lady killer, Jason Collins. Okay? He's beautiful. Guy's got an Adonis body
Yep.
and wonderful good looks. Yeah. Look at Greg Louganis, a real lady killer. Okay? So that's the kind of guy that I'm synonymous with, and that's the kind of thing I'll bring to your show.
You
I
want to
love that.
let people know you love sports like that. and
They
you
love,
love-
athletes like
You know,
Jason
I
Collins.
want to say real quick, guys, about the HPV.
Yes, let's address that because
About
it's
the
the
HPV.
elephant,
It's the
elephant in
the throat.
it's the elephant
right
in
now.
the-
Now, I don't know what I said to that reporter that day.
You don't remember it.
I'm not sure. You know,
Could be the HPV
I'm,
affecting you.
I'm old,
Right.
but I'm an alter cocker, as I
Yes,
said.
As
sure,
you say.
Now, some people think it came from oral sex. I have a theory, but I would say it came from sports.
It came from
Sports
Yeah.
gave you HPV.
Yeah, some sports I was having on a waterbed in 1981 on a boat in Marina Del Rey.
Okay, there you go.
So that kind of
Those kind of sporting.
listen, guys. I don't know if it came from oral sex, but I will say this: I've dined on more Y than the crowd at a Joan Osborne concert.
Okay.
So
You met Joan Osborne, Jay.
I did. She was lovely.
Very lovely woman.
I've
gal, big
drank
gal.
more Tang than the entire space program.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Drank it.
I've chowed more box
All right.
than a Dyson vacuum.
All right.
I'm sorry. I munched more rug than a Dyson vacuum.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I- and I-
Child
Have you
more
seen the
box.
Dyson?
And I've chowed more box
Uh-huh.
than the people down at a sushi bento box special.
Okay, that's
Okay,
great. That
the
was
last
a little
one
bit
was.
of a reach.
Okay,
Did you write these for
sorry.
yourself, or did
And
CZT
Catherine
help you out
wrote
with
them
this?
for me. And Soderbergh.
CTJ.
I don't know who.
CZJ.
CTJ. Oh,
CZ.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
CZJ.
But guys,
CZJ.
look, this has been a lot of fun. It's obviously
thank
been
you.
a smash success. I do want to plug my next few movies.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's hear
I
about
can't
it.
wait
Yeah,
to hear what
you
you're going to do next. Because really, the next one is going to be an important one for
Yes.
you, establishing where
The
you're
image
at.
you've set up with this one, we're going to see where it goes.
I'm remaking To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, with RuPaul and Bruce Valanche.
Okay. I see. I think you should do it with RuPaul and Wendy Williams because I think those are the same person.
Wendy's very talented.
Yes.
Very
Yes,
talented.
he is.
Randy Williams is RuPaul's greatest character yet.
that he's never done. All right, so
So
do
doing
that. I
that,
appreciate
doing the
that.
Mark Jacobs story.
Ah.
I'll be playing Mark Jacobs and his boyfriend this time. Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be a challenge for me. And, listen, it's been great to be here. It's great to listen to my own voice.
I love
It is
listening
really
to
great to
It's
hear
very
your voice.
soothing. I
It
mean,
is
it
very
kind of
soothing.
puts me in a
Thank you.
mood. So,
These
Mike,
pictures, hopefully these pictures really take off for me.
That would be great.
well, I really hope so.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, guys.
There
That
it is.
Michael Douglas joins us on Sklarbro Country.
Country.
Offers to be a correspondent.
Maybe we'll take him up on it.
I'm going to thank.
We'll have him back.
Thank Michael Douglas.
Yes.
I want to thank John Ross Bowie. I want to thank Frank. I want to thank the entire VPN staff. Everybody who listened, thanks for and watched on the live stream. Thanks for sticking with
Our
it.
good buddy
even though-
Jason Nash, let's thank him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wherever
he's
he
great.
is. Yeah,
He's
he's
a
funny.
great guy.
Jason23 Nash.
Jason
Follow him
23
on
Nash.
Twitter. It's good
Very
stuff.
funny, and
Yeah.
I hear he's on Vine.
He's on Vine
He's
now
on Vine
too.
as well.
So you
Look
hear
at
that.
This
It's
guy's
good.
on ear to the ground. He wants to be part
Ear
of
to
the
the
show.
ground is part of it. Michael Douglas, I'm so happy that he's here. The soothing voice, dulcet tones of Michael Douglas.
indeed.
Who is this?
This is Dead Man's Bones, and the song is Puff Puff Power.
Here's the deal. We've got the live Sklarbro Country from Chicago will be up and available when this thing drops on Earwolf tomorrow or today right now. So check that out. Pick that up. It's a great way to support the show. And then get your tickets for Denver. Let's try and sell these shows out. Why not? They're going to be really fun shows.
I'm going to be there in Denver.
Yeah,
gonna be in Denver,
Michael
I'll be
Douglas.
there in Denver that day.
Doing
Working out
what?
with the Broncos.
Just working out with the Broncos?
I'm following Mark Jacobs around.
Okay,
right,
good.
smart.
Great. He's got a store opening there or something like that?
No, just following him around.
Okay, good deal. All right, we have the Sklar Brothers, Sklarbro Country 150. Next Monday, or next Tuesday, we've got Rich Eisen.
Yes.
Rich Eisen. We
Looking
recorded
forward to
that
that.
show. Very excited about that. Good stuff all the way around. We'll see you guys. Punch Waterfalls.
Burn the streets, burn the cars, put power, put